question is, deep green resistance proclaims the liberty of the individual and condemns masculinity, but isn't this striving for emancipation and the sociological conceptualization of masculinity a product of the industrial civilization itself and a consummation of the modern world? Aren't you trying to reach contradictory goals where your societal objectives counteract your ecological objectives and vice versa? And honestly, I don't really understand the question. And I don't think that the liberty of the individual is central to deep green resistance. I think that's central to a lot of like green anarchism, but our primary concern is with the health of the natural world. And then the next part is the sociological conceptualization of masculinity. Isn't that a product of industrial civilization? I would say the opposite. I would say that industrial civilization is a necessary physical not necessary, but it's a physical manifestation of the masculinity, the cult of masculinity that has overrun the planet for the last 10,000 years. And the cult of masculinity, as we're talking about it in this sense, is based on the hierarchy that is in, the great chain of being, and it infuses our entire society, which is that mind is at the top, God is at the top, then angels, then the king, then some other of the nobles, and then business people, and then the peasants, and then indigenous people, and then non-human animals, and then plants, and then soil. And you go from pure mind at the top to pure matter at the bottom. And this is a hierarchy of value and of being. And we reject that completely. And part of that conceptualization also has to do with men being superior to women. And we don't believe that men are superior to women. That's the cult of masculinity. And in the cult of masculinity, the way one manifests and the way one knows that one is superior is by finding an other and then defining and taking the differences between oneself and the other, and then using them to create a hierarchy that is enforced through violating that other. And in the violation of the other, one validates one's superiority because I am the doer and they are the done to. And so, yes, there are differences between men and women. There are differences between the physical looks of people of different regions, and that's all fine. But then to perceive those differences as a source of hierarchy is where the problem comes in. Same with non-humans, that bears look different than humans. And that's fine, but then to perceive that difference as meaning that humans are superior to bears, that's the problem. And then how do we know that humans are superior to bears? Because we take their habitat. They don't take our habitat. We kill them. And when they kill us, then that is a violation of the natural order. So that is something that we oppose dramatically. And that's what's leading to the murder of the planet. Is first, the valuation, well, that's second. So first is the perception of difference implying a hierarchy. And really, men over women is one of the models for that has been applied all over the world. That is masculinity. And then second, that's the cult of masculinity. And then second is the necessity of violation as a way to validate one's superiority. And the way that this ties to industrial civilization is that it is the conversion of irrelevant matter into human creations, things we created with our minds. I mean, think about this. What is the most beautiful art you've ever seen in your life? Make a list. Chances are good it might be, the Mona Lisa, the Sistine Chapel, some beautiful painting, some beautiful piece of architecture. What about sunset? What about the song of a meadowlark? What about the songs of Pacific tree frogs? Oh, those aren't considered art. Why not? Because we didn't create them. That's the thing. What we create up here is worth something. And what is created, or think about extraordinary inventions. If I were to ask you to list top 5 inventions, you might say, I don't know, gunpowder, the wheel, the lever, the screw, I don't know what else, ice cream bars. And on the other hand, what about the invention of sex? What about the invention of lungs? What about the invention of roots? What about the invention of the ability to photosynthesize? What about the invention of proprioception? That'd be crazy if we didn't have any proprioception. But those aren't considered inventions because they were, quote, invented by evolution, by nature. They don't count. That's what is, and that's why it's okay to cut down a forest and put in a parking lot, because the parking lot was made by us. And that is this masculinity we're talking about.